We are talking about St Brigid again, and today we're going to talk about her work and her miracles, and there's a lot of stories that we can tell about St Brigid. But one thing before we talk about St Brigid, it's one thing about Celtic Christianity that we should know and understand is that Celtic Christianity, in Celtic Christianity, people loved the Word of God. And they followed the Word of God, and they studied the Word of God, and they had this fire in them, this faith in them that was born out of reading and studying the Word of God. And they believe that the Word of God will continuously create the world and recreate the world and beautify the world. So the Word of God is very important in Celtic spirituality, and it was definitely very important in the life of St Brigid as well. St Brigid had this inextinguishable faith in Jesus, and that Jesus can do anything, and if you pray that you're able to do anything. And so she had this faith, and she had a very deep knowledge of the Word of God. So St Brigid was a person who believed that God, we're on a journey with Jesus Christ. We're in a journey of Jesus Christ, and we're on our way to perfection. So life is a journey, and a lot of things can happen on a journey, but whatever happened on a journey, we are on our way to perfection. And that is a beautiful thing, that we as Christians are on a journey, and that journey is towards perfection. So a lot of things can happen in our world, and sometimes we're sad, and some days we're disappointed, and some days we're depressed, but it's the journey, and it's part of the journey. Now, St Brigid has done a lot of things, and a lot of things happened in her life, and that's really beautiful to remember. Now, the first important thing, when she was still a young girl, she needed to, her mom wanted her to make butter, to churn butter. And it was a chore that, or a skill that young girls at that stage in the history had to learn. And so there was this day that all the girls of the village should bring, or would bring, their butter to show their skills and show it to the village and show it to the parents and the elders of the village. So this day arrived, and St Brigid made her butter. And on her way to this village to bring her butter to show it to the world, or to the people in the village, she came across a lot of beggars and wayfarers and a few very poor people. And when she saw them, she felt pity for them, and she gave the butter to them. And when she arrived at the village, she had nothing, and she was so scared and worried about her mom's reaction, because she would have to present something. And when she arrived there and she had nothing, her mom would be very angry with her. But she prayed when she arrived at the village and at this venue where they have to produce the butter. She prayed earnestly to Jesus to help her. And when it was her turn to bring the produce forward, she had the butter. And there it was. And it was even better and more than all the other girls had to produce. So, show you that she had compassion for other people, and Jesus saw that compassion and provided what she wanted and what she needed for this occasion. Then there was another event or a thing that happened to her, and that it was that the king of the area where she lived, the landowner, or the king, you can call him a king. There was a lot of kings in Ireland at that stage. So the landowner, the king of the area where she lived, had a fox. The fox lived in the castle, And the fox was tame, and the fox was actually very skillful in tricks. So the fox would entertain the king with all the tricks and all the skills he had. So it was a really beloved animal in the castle and in the house of this landowner. And everybody around knew the fox, and knew about that it was the king's pet. And one day a guy from the rural areas who was uninformed about what's going on in the castle arrived at the king's castle and saw the fox. And he was alarmed about the wild fox roaming around in the king's castle. And knowing what foxes can do, he killed the fox. And all the people around it saw it, and they immediately detained the man and brought him to the king to inform the king that he killed the beloved fox. So when the king heard the story, he was furious and he was very angry, and he decided to kill this man and his family. And he kept him in a jail in his castle then. And St. Brigid heard about the story, and she felt very, very sorry for this man and his family. And she got into her chariot and immediately went towards the castle to go and try to speak to the king. So she arrived there, and the king said that he is, and she asked the king what she can do. And the king said he needs a fox, and the same fox with what can do the same tricks. And if he can get the fox, a similar fox that can do the tricks, he will release the man. So St. Brigid went back, and on her way, she found a fox running towards her, and it was a tame fox that God sent to her, and the fox jumped in to her chariot with her, and he hid behind her, and she realized that God had sent this fox, and she turned around back to the castle to bring this fox to the king. And when she arrived there, she produced the fox, and this fox was able to do all the tricks that the previous fox had done, and the king was happy, and he released the man and sent him home, and the fox stayed in the castle. But after a few weeks, this fox got fed up with all the people and all the crowds around him, and he was really not happy anymore to be there and entertain them, and so he got sick of it. So the fox decided to go back to his burrow in the woods, and one day he just ran away. People chased him and tried to bring him back, but he just ran off to his burrow to go and stay with his pals again. And the king couldn't do anything because he released the man. So this is the way she helped the poor man that entered or came into this very bad, embarrassing situation. Then the final story that I want to tell you about St. Brigid is that one day a girl arrived at her house, and the girl told her that she unfortunately, she fell pregnant, and she didn't want to fall pregnant, and that her pregnancy is going to create a lot of trouble in her life and destroy her life and destroy her dreams and everything she wanted to do. And it was a very bad situation for her, a terrible situation that she found herself in. So, and she asked for St. Brigid for her help. So St. Brigid prayed for her, and then eventually the pregnancy was terminated, and the girl could go on with her life as a person without the burden and the tough situation of having a baby, unplanned baby in her life. So in this way, St. Brigid also helped a young woman that made a mistake, made the wrong decisions, but got a second chance by God's grace. So St. Brigid had compassion for people in trouble and in difficult situations. But she also loved animals. And one day she was cooking bacon for a group of people that wanted to come or came to her house to eat. And while she was cooking, a very poor dog arrived, and the dog was very thin and very, very hungry. So she cut a piece of this bacon and gave it to the dog, and realized that she won't have enough for her guests. But then when she took the bacon out of the pot and put it on the table, the bacon was perfect, whole as she put it originally in the pot. So nothing was missed of the bacon that she put on the table for everybody. And that's how God provided for her, because she had mercy on a dog that was hungry and destitute. That is the life of St. Brigid. She believed in miracles. She believed in the power of Jesus Christ in her life. And I want to read to you a passage in John 14 that just supports St. Brigid's life and what she did. And I'm going to read to you John 14 from verse 12. I'm telling you the truth. Those who believe in me will do what I do. Yes, they will do even greater things, because I'm going to the Father, and I will do whatever you ask for in my name, so that the Father's glory will be shown through the Son. If you ask me for anything in my name, I will do it. This probably is a summary of St. Brigid's life, that if you ask me for anything in my name, I will do it. So friends, this whole story about St. Brigid just encourages us to pray to Jesus earnestly and constantly for the things we need, and especially for the world and the people of the world. And may God help us to always pray, no matter our circumstances, no matter what happened to us. Pray that Jesus will help us in help other people as well. Till next time.